DC Vigilante. So I went into a comic store in Scotland. It's Forbidden Planet, it's called, International. A lot of stuff, you know. They sell comics and graphic novels and books and statues and bags. They can even sell pin bags. I should be looking out for BVS or BVS car sticker. That's what I'd love to do, you know, check online. I mean, they sold that. I got that for my girl, but look at the price. It's about $10.99 for a bag like that. And the zip is, I don't know, maybe you're just paying for the brand name. It just looks cheap. But I got it for my wee girl, and I got this Superman, Batman and Superman. There was a Batman one there and stuff, and I just walked slowly. It was like I was the first customer, and you know, not many people, and you know, most of the shops weren't opened yet. So I basically took my time and walked around every comic book and comics that they are, and realising how far behind I am on the timeline, and I sort of I've just sort of stopped with the timeline stuff, you know, and it went in so many directions I wasn't big on, and I just, as I said, I love the one-off stories. And so when I came across this, and it reminds, when I flicked through it, you know, you flick through the story so you can get a gist of it, and here's one scene, and he's not became Superman yet, and he's hearing all these voices, and he says, I can't do this and whatnot. So for those people that didn't like Man of Steel, you know, there is times when he is sad and depressed and doesn't know what to do and doesn't know if he can do the job and everything else. So take that in mind. There was also so I was in and I thought, right, that story's a wee bit like is it Birthright or something like that? Yeah, or Year One and stuff mixed up. But I love the sort of origin stories. I could read origin stories till, you know, constantly, because I love that sort of time in the hero's lifeline when they're just starting and people don't know who they are, and it's like experiencing their powers for the first time. I love that stuff, you know. So they must sell because they still do it. So I went around and I thought, right, what other books are there? And I saw Wonder Woman and Conan and stuff. But then I remembered that I wanted the Green Lantern plus Star Trek, right? So I looked about and I asked a young guy down the stairs, and he says, do you have that? And I said, check the Star Trek. Which I did, but anyway, so I did. And there it was, the Star Trek, but it was the movie version. I'd like the Star Trek with the original, you know, Kirk and stuff like that. I mean, William Shatner, that sort of time period. I would have preferred something like that. And so I looked at this book, I think it was Spectrum War or something, and then I looked at the price, and it was like $17.99, right? And I went, whoa, it's pricey. And now this book has how many pages? How many pages does it have? It doesn't even number the pages. But you can tell it's right. That's it there. Right. Oh, I've just noticed the front. 100-page Superman. Right, so there we go. And you're paying now rated T13. So £7.99, and it £7.99 in the UK, which I presume on the barcode in dollars it's 9. $9.99, right? And I'm thinking, you know, and I've always had this issue with pricing for comics, especially, you know, and when it's something you could read within the space of 30 minutes or even less. You could have read that story and you've just spent, you know, the price of, you know, a movie or something like that, or a box set, a TV box set would last longer than what you would do. So I've always had a wee issue on pricing of these, but I know, you know, they've got to make money and everything else, and all the artists that were involved in making that. And that's another complaint why it's not you know, you shouldn't really label it for kids, because it's basically the adults that really are paying for it. So I was looking at the toys and stuff like that, and I seen this stretchable Flash, and then I seen Shazam toys, and there were characters there that we've never seen in the trailers, and it was like the Shazam family, and there was Lego stuff there for the DC films. And I could hear these two guys, one behind the counter and probably a friend, and they were talking about Marlon Brando and Superman and the S symbol and stuff like that. So and they were a lot older than me, a lot older, and I went to. So they were talking about movies in general and stuff like that, and the way things are, and what he did for those couple of minutes and stuff like that. So I get to the counter, and no, before that I brought up the subject. Don't you hate these things with the toys that they seem to, every superhero movie that comes out? And I was being nice and polite and everything else, nice soft tone and stuff, and I was showing them this other Shazam character that, you know, Hero, one of the brothers or something like that. And I says, don't you hate when toys do that? They give you a figure that you wonder, is this person in the movie? And most of the time it's not. So this guy somehow had to defend the toy, right? The guy that's not standing behind the counter. Oh, they do that. It doesn't make it's like he's trying to defend the industry or whatever, and the reason why I'm saying that is because he goes on later on, which I'll get to, and this is, you know, and Lego, but those Lego toys, they came out months before and stuff like that, you know, they always do it and everything else, and it's just, I'm thinking, you don't have to defend the stuff, you know, I'm just making, that's what I'm thinking, you just have to make, you know, I'm just bringing the subject up that people talk about the toys that come out, and most of the time it has very little to do with the film. So I get to the counter, and then I started talking. This is see all this stuff with, you know, movies and Shazam and stuff like that, because we're talking about Shazam, and of course I led to Captain Marvel. I see all this stuff with the movies, you know, I heard you two guys talking about movies and stuff. Now we're living in a world where the stuff that's happened with a website called Rotten Tomatoes and Fandango and the feminist movement and stuff like that, you know, and this is, oh no, that. And the guy again was sort of defending it. No, that's not real and stuff like that. But they removed all these comments and reviews and stuff, and they mentioned about there was and I've been still nice, and my tone was like this, you know. And this, each to their own, you know. That's conspiracy theories, and well, he's got every right. But then he walks out as though, what have I said? You know, I'm just making conversation. And so the guy, of course, behind the counter, he's you know, he has to be there and stuff like that. And it's just, I know you could think that, but then you know, you look at Ghostbusters and you look at Supergirl and the Doctor Who and how its ratings went down and stuff because people feel that, you know, getting lectured to by this stuff and everything else, and then I talked about the Oscars and the guy before he left, he'd he said, "Oh, Black Panther came out on DVD long before there were talks about Oscars and everything else," and I'm thinking, I'm not here to criticise the film, right? Or what I am doing is criticising behind the scenes, you know. But I know I said that. I'm talking at this tone. And so he walked in and I went, oh God, I must have hurt his feelings or something, you know. And so as I paid him, thanks very much, you know. And before I left, you know, I was talking about Supergirl and the people that are behind Rotten Tomatoes, the company man and stuff like that. I just make polite. I'm just, because they were talking about movies, and I brought up the Zack Snyder, you know, thing, you know, that he done this talk. So he said, I was watching the Zack Snyder stuff, and he was talking about behind the scenes and everything else. So that's how basically I got from there to tomatoes and everything else. So as I was leaving the shop, I know my story was a wee bit all over the place there, but it's just things just come to my mind, and unlike normal YouTubers, I don't have a piece of paper in front of me that tells me, you know, or guidelines. So I just say what I'm thinking. So I'm going out the shop, and I think I'll get a BVS sort of pin. I've got to keep an eye out for a BVS pin. Put it for the other side, because I like showing what I like, you know. I like. So I was leaving the shop, and the guy stood there. And and then he thanked me for coming in, and I'm thinking, was he the owner of the shop? Because it was behind the counter. And I'd previously known a guy who was managing the shop. I used to work with a guy in a photo lab and stuff like that, and he took me one time downstairs in the shop to show me the episode 1 Star Wars trailer. And it just came on, and he took me down, and he was getting excited and stuff like that. And he showed me on the computer. So I seen all the stuff that they had in the basement and all that good comics. And when I walked into that Forbidden Planet shop, it reminded me of a couple of the YouTube videos I've seen. And a couple of the YouTube videos is this Nerdist, or whatever this guy's called, and he's Nerdist. Put in Nerdist and you might come up with it. And he was talking about comic books shops, probably in America. Was it Two Cats or something like that? And he owns himself. He owns a comic book shop himself, and so this other comic book shop had opened pretty close to him. And right now, after a couple of years, probably it's gone out of business. And you would think with the success of the superhero movies, you know, whether it's Marvel or whatnot, that you would think that the comic book industry should be booming. I mean, and surprisingly, that's not the case. Now, this guy, he wasn't forthcoming in explaining why comic book shops are suffering from. I think, especially, and I made videos about it, that most shops just now in city centres and stuff are suffering because of people buying things online and stuff. And I mean, comic books, if you think about it, they've only existed for a small period of time in the last 20 odd years. When I was growing up, there was no comic book shops. You would get your comics in a newsagent shop or something like that, and it was rare to get it. I'm not. Maybe in America it was different. Maybe they've had comic book shops since the 1950s or whatever. But over in the UK, it wasn't really. There was nothing here. So now I'm hearing in America that this guy's that is closing down. And maybe in a roundabout way, it was maybe saying it was to do with the feminist stuff or whatever. That maybe some stories are going along those lines. I mean, I myself, I buy, as you know, I get the Egomos stuff. And right now, after like 30 years of collecting comics, I've had to say, right, this is it. Stop. I'm not buying it religiously anymore. I'm not buying graphic novels religiously. Maybe the odd one or two here and there, and that way, because I just don't have the space. I've seen a guy who had a basement, had all these DVDs in it, and I'll put a link to him, and I'll put a link to the Nerdist as well for you at the end of this. And it's all about physical media, and it's all about your comics in your hand compared to your iPad or stuff like that. So and I've been in comic book shops where I feel that the staff, maybe like HMV as well, the staff there should be more and more educated about the stuff that they're selling, or they should be coming over to you like they do in posh shops and say, how can I help you? Is there anything you're looking for? Have you read this? This is brilliant. This is about a story that are you starting off today? Is this your first? More comic people. And I remember going in and I says, do you have this statue? And the guy basically says, I don't believe in all this stuff, all the memorabilia or comics or statues, it's just, and I went, wow, man, you've really pushing the sale here, about, I shouldn't get this figurine, I shouldn't get this toy for this TV show and everything else. And you tend to think, apart from The Simpsons, right? Apart from The Simpsons and maybe The Big Bang Theory, where we see comic book owners, and they have this vast knowledge of what's in the store and what's collectible, but there is a lot of people that work in these stores that are just doing it for the job, right? They're just doing it and to get the money. So the owners of the comic book shop are not there, or maybe it's a franchise like Forbidden Planet, like McDonald's is and stuff like that. They just, and it's just sad that there isn't. And then I made a video way back about me going into about myself going into a shop, and this guy had not really all that much knowledge about the superhero movies, and he's working in this shop called A1 Comics, and I asked him about the statues, about the BVS statues and that Amazon used to sell, and they didn't do too well, and even though they were a top selling product on Amazon. So it's just, people. So the point of this video is with that guy walking out, right? Because he maybe heard he really walked out at the very start of the conversation, and he went, and he was maybe hearing a couple of things, and he had his own closed mind about it, and he walks out to save himself a wee argument, a wee talk, a wee discussion. Now, I wouldn't argue, especially with people in the town, they're in the shop, I don't know them, so I'm talking the way I am talking just now, and I'm getting it's like if I saw somebody with I did see one guy with a Green Lantern top on. I says, you like Green Lantern? And the guy basically didn't know who he was, he just liked the jumper. And I went, what? It's like a soccer player or whatever, a football fan wearing one of those strips and not knowing what team it is just because he likes it. It's just nonsense. Or maybe he doesn't support that team, but he likes the top. It's just, no! You wear something that reflects your self-interest, your self-enjoyment and stuff like that. So, it's the closed-mindedness of people. Now, there are people out there that have never heard of Rotten Tomatoes, right? And don't know what it is. And they go and see these films. Like one guy in my work who went to see Captain Marvel had no idea about all this stuff going on about what Brie Larson said and the thoughts and feelings behind this feminist movement. But if he was aware of it, it's he would be pre-informed of to see it or not to see it, and that's why Marvel movies have done so well. Is we, the people on YouTube, or Facebook, the ones that are really fans and are into it in a way, we have the knowledge. And I made that a video about being informant about a character before you pass judgment, just because the only thing you know about a character is through a movie. But when you read comics, like that, and you get information. So that's one side of the thing. But now we're dealing with people that may have that information, but have a closed mind to what could possibly be, the actual truth of the matter. Right? I'm not saying, if you wish to believe that there is nothing happening in Rotten Tomatoes, that Disney doesn't have any influence over the Oscars nomination or the power that they inflict or whatever, that's entirely up to you. All I'm saying is open your mind, open your ideas. Let's talk about things. Let's question things. Let's not just walk out of a shop and say, I'm not even going to think with this. I live in my protective bubble. So if you have disagreed, and I know, and I've noticed, surprisingly, I'm not surprised, I have quite a few subscribers, which is really surprising to me. But really, though, there's only, out of those subscribers, there's probably only 30 people that watch these videos. And a lot of you will disagree with just about a lot of what I say. All I'm saying, and what I try to do, is as I keep my mind open, try to keep my mind open to the possibility of what, of different truths that are out there. And that's why I like stuff like, UFOs and ghosts and everything else, and religion as well. I'm open-minded to all the possibilities are there, and I'll make an argument. I'll have my own beliefs, and I'll make a wee argument against that. And because I have admittedly made a lot of mistakes before, and my thought process swings this way and that way depending on the argument, right? So, I could believe full-heartedly, just, at one point I was, is there a Snyder Cut? Is there one? Right? And I'm listening to both sides. And both sides, yes there is or no there isn't, and Zach and everything else. So it'll take a wee while for me to, and it's like a point system. Right? That person made a good argument. So did that one, so did that one, so did that. But it'll get to a stage in everybody's life where there's so many for that in my head that ain't going up at all. But I'm still willing to listen, but it's very hard to move this up to believe. But there are people out there, I'm sorry to say, that will just stay there. And even though this guy here is telling him stuff, he ain't moving, right? He ain't doing it. But for you and for me, we'll come here and we'll listen to this guy. And if another guy comes along and goes, good point. Another guy, So that's what I've been keeping open-minded, no matter what YouTuber that you watch. And maybe have more comic book shops were like that, and more listening to the people in the shops and having talks, having sit-down cafes, and because there are those places where you go in for the game, and there's those game cafes you come in and you interact with the staff that's there, board games and stuff like that. That's the sort of stuff we need. Don't anybody that works in the shop believe that you have the superior knowledge. No, but stand and listen to everybody. Because everybody's opinions matters. Okay, that's my truth. DC Vigilante out.